Yeah.
Sure did. That's exactly right. To go get some ice
Some
cream.
ice cream, yeah. And it's so exciting to be a part of.
It'd be amazing.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest things I think we've learned.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Vicki, and I'm right here around the table. And this week, we're going to start things just a little differently. I'm going to introduce my two guests today. Today, we're going to be talking about Alzheimer's and the local events that are coming up to support that cause. And so I thought, why not have my husband, Brian Runk, to the left here, and my son, Christopher, do a little chatting with me about our journey over the last 30-some years of raising money locally. And then I want to introduce the idea to you that no matter where you are in the United States, because I know we have a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers that watch our show, you can find out about what's going on in your local community by going to the Alzheimer's Association website, and they have a list of the walk dates and how you can get involved in raising money. But before we start going into all that we want to talk to you about and have a call to action for the Lynchburg community, Brian, welcome again to the show.
Glad to be here.
And we really have been raising money for this for a very long time. And Christopher, you were really little when we started this, so maybe you can tell our listeners and viewers about your memories of how it all started and how involved you've been in the process as well.
Absolutely. I remember going to Alzheimer's walks probably starting at the age of 6 or 7 years old. You guys are going to have to help me with that church location.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
the
Was it-
Presbyterian Church.
Well, it was in Boonesboro. Yeah.
Yeah, in Boonesboro.
And that's
right.
my first initial memories of the Alzheimer's Association and getting involved in the Lynchburg community. And I remember, help me out with the gentleman's name, Dad. John
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 Dees.
Dees.
Is that right?
Mhm.
John Deeds.
Yeah.
Deeds. I remember him and raising money.
That's pretty
And-
good.
Yeah.
Is that pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it made a lasting impact on my life. And then, sitting here at 35 years
Yeah,
old,
yeah.
we're still participating. I'm still going to walks. So you're right. It has been almost 30 years now of fundraising.
Yeah.
And even John, remember John had a golf tournament
He
back in the
did,
day at
yes.
Colonial Hills.
Yeah.
And I remember playing in that. It seems like forever ago now, but I remember that was a big deal, and always had a good turnout for that as well. But then, John sort of started that back in the day.
Yeah, and when I was about 23 years old, I worked for Lynchburg Health and Rehab, used to be Camelot Hall back in the day. And my boss, who was Elizabeth Kale, who kind of found me and my passions way back when I was really young and gave me a chance, gave me a job. She just retired from Westminster Canterbury. Said, why don't you go be on the board of the Alzheimer's Association? So I met John Deeds, and we went over somewhere off of Atherholt, and we met on a regular basis, and I became a part of that way, way back then. And he's right. The Alzheimer's Association as a whole did a golf tournament every year, and I can remember riding the holes. Little did I know I was getting prepared to be a part of the golf business one day, but I knew nothing about golf. I just knew we needed to raise money and how important it is. And one of the things that I love about the Alzheimer's Association's efforts in the grassroots community is all the monies that we raise stay right here in the community. And that's true for any of you watching. So if you live in Arkansas or if you live in Wyoming, no matter where you are, whatever efforts you're putting forth, those monies stay in the localities in which you're working on. That means people in your grocery stores that have Alzheimer's and you see in the hallways or coming down the aisles that need help can get help from those monies, or your neighbor who has Alzheimer's and you need to hook them up with the association. Those are things that you can actively get involved in, but that money stays for the local chapter. And that's why we've been so excited, is that we know that every penny that we're raising and that we give back to the Alzheimer's Association stays right here in Lynchburg. And that means our neighbors are getting helped. And that's what's been so important to us through the years.
Yeah, definitely. That's always been a key thing. I think that, it becomes such a personal thing to people that are experiencing things locally, to know that money's staying locally to help those folks is important.
I didn't know you rode the
I
golf
did.
cart back in the day. That's
Yeah.
I just learned something new.
Yeah, I think we were delivering drinks
You
to
were
our
you were
golfers.
a
And
a drink girl then, huh?
I
Back in the
probably
day, huh?
was.
A
I
cart girl.
Cart girl. That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
think. The
Girl
cart
for the
girl.
Alzheimer's
Yeah.
Association.
So some really staggering stats that I had pulled for me this morning that it will just completely blow your mind for those of you that have not been affected by Alzheimer's, which I'd say that's very few that's listening. For you to understand that just in Virginia alone, and you can look this up in the locality in which you're living, over 164,000 people over the age of 65 are living with a diagnosed Alzheimer's disease future.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And then over 342,000 families are caregivers in Virginia alone. So that's a lot of people.
It seems like everywhere I go, whatever I do, you always run into people, especially when they know that you're involved. And, so, and there's always some element of memory issues all the time. Everybody has a aunt and uncle, a family member. It just is so far reaching, and it impacts so many people.
Right. And so we decided about 9-10 years ago, honey, that we were going to do our own 501c3 foundation, and it's called the Pearls of Life. So anybody that wants to help us, that's listening to this or watching us, we're going to put some information out, and you're going to tell them how to contribute here at the end of the show.
Well, they can go to pearlsoflife.com and
Okay.
right on there, they have the ability to click on a drop-down tab, and they can donate money, and that money can be collected right through the internet, and all that will go right to your 501c3. So it's super easy.
I didn't even know we were that fancy. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Very fancy.
But listen, guys, the Pearls of Life Foundation was founded, with the hopes that, we would just raise money all year long, that we would never stop. And I don't think we do, Christopher, because we go from the walk
We
right
don't.
back into starting a new year. But there's other things that we can do with that foundation as well. Through the year, we've been noted to give money to the Humane Society, and I have it go specifically for senior-related dogs or seniors in the community that can't afford to take care of their animals anymore. And we do something. It's that Best Buddies Ball that the local Humane Society here in Lynchburg puts on. We're proud to be sponsors of that every year. There could be a widow or a widower in the church, in any of our local churches, that if they were to call us and we have some money set aside to help widows or widowers that maybe have to choose between whether they're going to get their medications or eat. So there is ways for us to help in other areas as well.
I know you do. You give a lot to medication needs and food needs for seniors.
Absolutely. So it's pearlsoflife.com. Anybody that's local that wants to help us with our mission, we'll make sure that those monies get used to go out to help our seniors. I would encourage other people, find a way to get involved. Find a way to put your stamp of volunteerism into your communities. Number one, it's really good for the psyche and the soul. But number two, we just don't have enough volunteers anymore. I think we've stopped raising our children to understand that giving back is really, really important. And so now we're getting to that stage to where people our age are getting older, and we're losing that bottom half of the 20 and 30-year-olds. So let's make an effort to educate ourselves on volunteerism, because I dare say, Christopher, there's very few people that are listening to us that doesn't have a neighbor, a grandparent, an aunt, or an uncle, someone in their family that's being terribly affected by this disease.
Absolutely. Because I have so many friends, and you go to them, you're like, or one of the best things about, and we're going to talk about our golf tournament here shortly, but you go to that tournament, and I've had the honor to introduce you several times, Mom, and we always ask the folks playing, how many of you are affected or know somebody who's affected by Alzheimer's? And there isn't a single hand that's not raised.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that shows, the
Increase.
extent
Mm-hmm.
of how much the disease does affect
Yeah, and
not only the people with it, but also their whole
the
family.
whole family. Because there's changes that has to be made. You have to consider their safety, whether their medications are being given regularly. They may say they are, but you don't know unless you're checking in on them. Whether they're eating correctly, whether they're just safe at home anymore, the fall risk, just getting up and really not knowing where you're at, and the confusion level that's involved in that. A lot of family members will say to me, well, I'm leaving Mom at home just till I absolutely have to. And they're proud of that. What we need to learn is to change our way of thinking, that it's not how long you get to leave mom home. That's not proving a point. She's not going to remember that anyway. What you need to be able to do is pillow your head at night and know that they're safe in all the areas that I just listed, because we have been involved in some horror stories of families that have just waited too long to get help. And that starts with, writing your local Alzheimer's association, getting material in hand. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to this disease. There's over 37 different dementias that a geriatric psychiatrist can sit and diagnose. They're all so different, and we handle things differently based on the diagnosis. So I encourage early detection. Empower yourself with all of the different podcasts that are out there that will give you the knowledge that you need to go through this. You don't have to do it alone. And caregivers need just as much support as the victims of this disease.
And I would say if you're just beginning that journey, you don't know where to start.
That's right.
Where do I even begin?
Mm-hmm.
ALZ.org, the national website, is a fantastic resource with a lot of informational videos. You can get involved in their local chapters, and they have support groups. Mom, I know we provide support groups through Runk Pratt with our local chapter, and that's a great way to just begin the conversation of what does Alzheimer's care look like for someone who may be providing it or need to go to a neighbor.
Yeah, because the bare facts is 1 in every 3 are diagnosed. 1 in every 3 people are diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and it is the 6th leading cause of death. And so sometimes when I hear a family or a person say to me, I just never thought that this would even be part of our journey. What we need to do until a cure is found, which is what we raise the money for every year, right? Is that we need to expect it. It doesn't need to come to us as a surprise, because educating yourself on the different diagnoses that a senior may come in contact with over the age of 65 is imperative these days, because we don't know how to take care of our moms, dads, brothers, sisters, whatever, if we don't have the knowledge that we need. And I'm telling you right now, I'm involved in this all the time. Dementia is a terrible disease that doesn't just, I talk about there's 2 deaths in this disease. First, the mind, where mom just doesn't recognize you when you walk through the door, which is a terrible feeling, right? And then we have the bodily death after that. So a family member really has to educate themselves as to what that journey is going to look like. And being prepared is part of your power.
And I think we see that so much where families, even though they know people that have this issue, they're always struggle. I think when placements happen, the residents adjust. It's always the families that have the difficulty. Yeah. And then there's always internal issues between families, and the daughter understands it, the son doesn't, and it causes so much. There's so much education needed. It's such a traumatizing time.
And I think
families.
Also to talk to your mom and dad about it sooner than later. How do you want me to handle things, Mom, if you get this diagnosis? Because again, the preparation for this is something that we should all be doing, because the likelihood, 1 in 3, the likelihood of it striking you is pretty high.
Mom, I want to throw out another stat. You were talking about caregivers. Alzheimer's caregivers in Virginia alone provide roughly 662 million hours of unpaid care annually.
Wow.
And it's usually families.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually the families that have to adjust their lives, not go to kids' sporting events, come and stay overnight. It's a life changer.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk a little bit, Christopher, about what we have to be able to offer our local community in regards to Alzheimer's, all of our different programs. Why don't you start spouting some of that off?
Well, I'd love to start with daytime if that's okay with you. You want to kind of take it from there? I know it's a brand new. We've been open for roughly a year and a half now. It's a brand new daytime center where you can drop your loved ones off from 7A to 7P. It's a locked unit. It's state of the art. I know you had a lot of design and care poured into that, so I think that's a great spot to start.
So right here at 1208 Paravel Road here in Lynchburg, we do have transportation within a certain mileage, and you can always call us and find out if you qualify for that. But Christopher's right. You can make your own schedule for the week if you only want 2 days a week, 3 days a week, half days, whatever works for you and your situation. We'll take care of your loved one while you go shop, while you go get your hair done, just to give yourself a break, because if you're a caregiver, you need to be taking care of yourself before you're ever able to pour in to your loved one. It won't work if you don't take care of yourself. And part of that is etching out time in your week to where you just take care of you. You fill your cup back up. And we have the lunchtime is provided. We have snacks during the day, tons of activities, tons of stimulation.
Movie theater.
It's an old town feel. We went way back into the 20s, 30s, and 40s and incorporated all kinds of gas station signs, an old barn, lots of
Old things to stimulate that long-term memory.
That's exactly right. We do have a clinic with beds if one needs to lay down during the day, so don't let that stop you. We have a beauty salon. She's here every Wednesday. We also have the ability to do showers, so if at home you're not able to get your loved one in the shower, we can do that for you while you have dropped him or her off with us. We have a beautiful outside patio, and our staff goes out and does an orchestrated event, so they're never out there alone. We did choose to have it safe and secured for this very reason, and we also take the VA contract, which we're serving a lot of veterans over there right now.
We probably serve 60%
Mm-hmm.
plus is veterans.
Mm-hmm.
So so in that situation, oftentimes it's almost a free service, and people don't even know that's out there.
Right, there is benefits available for that. It is licensed by the state of Virginia. Lots of great things over there. Yeah.
And daytime's kind of a feeder system, a feeder program into our larger care facilities. And we have about 130 beds that are a locked, secured unit between our Forest facility and our Pearls of Life facility.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. Some precursors to people's ideas about memory care. Number one, not everybody should be in memory care just because they have an Alzheimer's diagnosis. So I'm going to say that one more time. Not everybody needs to be in memory care just because they have an Alzheimer's diagnosis. If mom or dad is just mildly demented, just early stages of Alzheimer's, and they're not exit seeking, meaning they're not trying to get to the door to, I'm going back home every 30 seconds or even every 10 minutes. Yeah. We would want them in a locked, secure unit at that particular scenario. But if we're just mildly demented and I can't remember whether I ate or not, and Johnny came, but really Johnny didn't come. It was Susie. Those kinds of just mild dementia can be handled in an assisted living. It's called a mixed group population. And there's things that we have in our assisted livings that will control. We have a Wonder Guard system at Leesville to where they can wear a bracelet. And when they get to the door, that bracelet will automatically lock that door and secure them there. But that's for the very early stages. For somebody that's actively going to the doors, that will wear our staff out. So that's not for that particular person. So there's so many different options. There's certain doors that are locked at Liberty Ridge, and the windows have locks on them. And so we've gone for the mixed population regulations as well. So, seeing our admissions team, and it is a team, and explaining truthfully what mom and dad are doing at home is the best way to choose, is memory care right for me? Because it could be that they start at a less restrictive environment, which we're going to want them to do.
That's always the best option. I think you should always opt for the least restrictive, and then there's always options if you need to, take it further. But I think that most people tend to think if there's any kind of memory issues, that's automatically a memory care facility, and that is definitely not the case.
Right. But if you want to lay your head down at night and know mom and dad cannot escape no matter what, the memory care facility is the way to go. Yeah. Sometimes families just choose to do that. But there's extra requirements for our staff in those facilities, so they get extra amount of continuing education that's required every year through our state regulations. Our programs are geared towards those that have lesser of a capacity to sit still very long, or they need constant turnover of activities. So our activities directors are specific to memory care. Our staff, we have a patient to staff ratio that's required for memory care, and they just get a different kind of training. There's a lot of patients that's involved with this particular home. And so we have two of those available. One is Pearls of Life. That's adjacent to our campus on the top of Candler's Mountain. There at Liberty Ridge. When you go through the big gates there, that's right across the street. And then one in Forest.
And even for there, oftentimes couples will come in and they're thinking they're fine, and then one of the spouses start to have some issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice knowing there's something across the street
Right.
where you can have them at a safe place. You can go visit, have meals with them. Then you can come back and see your friends and have your own life. It really meets the needs of
It's the best of
both
worlds.
of them.
Yes.
And the families really are thankful that mom or dad don't have to. And some families choose to stay with the other one that has the dementia, but it's great where they can come back if they don't and have those choices. Yes.
I'm sitting here looking at one stat that's pretty incredible, and it says that about 16% of Virginia adults aged 45 plus report subjective cognitive decline, a possible early symptom of Alzheimer's or cognitive impairment. And for me, 45, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people even maybe realize that at potentially the age of 45, you begin
Absolutely.
brain deterioration on some level.
Well, we
you
start-
don't have to be 70,
That's
80
right.
years old for this to affect you.
Well, you start aging. And what does aging mean? It means that all of our faculties, all of our organs, everything starts to take on that aging process. And unfortunately, when we're dealing with the brain and all the complex things that go into how we think, how we speak, we just watched a special on Lewy body dementia and frontal lobe dementia
Bruce Willis.
with Bruce Willis. We took our time the other night to sit down there and watch all of that. Lewy body is something that my grandmother had. So I watched that. And then the frontal lobe dementia that he has is something that we've had around since the 90s, but there's not been enough cases to put a lot of study into it. So we're a little behind on that. And there's two sections of the brain that can affect. His actually is affecting his speech, and so he's nonverbal now. And to watch that whole process, and I would suggest it's on 2020 with Diane Sawyer. Everybody that's listening to my voice needs to. You can get on, is it YouTube or Netflix?
Hulu.
Hulu. Okay, get on Hulu. I think it's a Netflix documentary.
Way to go there,
I
Dad.
know.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And you can put in Diane Sawyer 2020, Bruce Willis, and it's just been amazing. He was younger. They can filter that back to when he was in his mid-50s that they started seeing signs. So you're right. It's not just the older population that this is targeting.
So in order for us to do anything, we got to raise money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Raise money and raise a lot of it year after year after year. I do want to say congratulations to you both. I know earlier this year, Mom, you were given a big award by the Alzheimer's Association, but I believe you guys have raised roughly $1.2 million plus over 30 years. So that's what an incredible fight.
Well, especially for just right here in local Lynchburg, there's not a lot of people out there that will write big checks to us. This is truly a $2,000 here, a $50 here,
yes.
a $10 memorial for
matters.
mom.
It all matters.
I'm going to give you $15 because you took care. It's all of that coming in. That's amazing to me that just our little local people that care enough about what we're talking about, that has been affected by it, has decided to write a check for the cause, and we're overwhelmed with gratitude for that today.
And most of our families always support this. People that have been with us and their loved ones passed, they're always the first ones to continue to support
Christopher, in our last golf tournament, I don't know if it was a year or two ago, we actually had one of our Pearls of Life residents that stood right up there with you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't make always great conversation, but he knew enough about what he knew it was important. I remember I looked at him and I said, "You know what we're doing today?" And he looked at me and he said, "Better be important." He was such a wonderful man. We still have him. But then they go out and do a ceremonial putt that we came up with when we first started this because I wanted to be able to reflect. I wanted all of our golfers to feel the emotion, right? So we do a video now that we're big time and can do that kind of stuff. But back in the early days, this ceremonial putt was the only way I could really pull at the emotional part of what we were doing this for. And so we do a putt for the past. So that's someone that we've lost. So we have a family member that'll go out to the putt and do a putt for that. And then we have one for the present. And our resident last year actually golfed for the one for the present. He actually made his little putt. And then you guys as a whole, all the Runk men, gather on the hole and you putt for the future, meaning that we're putting for a future cure. And we'll keep doing this golf tournament until we're able to not putt anymore.
We typically put my younger brother out there because he makes the putt.
Yeah, no.
Me and Dad, you don't want that to miss, so we stick Chandler out there. But it is extremely emotional. It's a great thing. But Mom, you talk about the golf tournament. Let's talk about it a little bit because it is our largest fundraiser that we do all year long. Our goal is always to raise around $30,000-$40,000 off that golf tournament, and we can't do that without local support. Local companies. Dad, you mentioned families. Families will always give a little bit of money here and there in honor of Mom and Dad.
I remember last
sponsor a
year,
hole.
one of our families had a picture of his mother taped to his cart. Do you remember that?
That was so cool. And we say every golfer needs to wear a purple shirt. You've got yours on today, Christopher, to signify that we need your help. It's really important, no matter, again, where you are in the country, to get in. If this speaks to you, if this program is speaking to you, get involved in your local efforts to raise funds. And you say, well, I can't really walk. You don't have to. Just show up in the morning. It's actually October the 25th this year, right here in Windhurst if you're in Lynchburg. But look it up because alls.org will have where you live and where the walk is taking place. Some of them are coming up quickly, so you want to look. We're starting all of our efforts now. And just go if you've got a grandchild, if you've got a child, do like I did Christopher, drag him with me when he was little. Take your pet with you. And if you just stand at the pole or stand wherever they're having the ceremony and you can feel everybody's emotions, inevitably every year there's a new diagnosis that is standing near the podium and you can see it on their face. You can see it on the family's face. Be a support to get to know who they are. How can I help you in your journey? I promise you'll feel better if you get involved.
Yeah, Mom's right. You always do leave a lot. You leave better than you came.
For sure.
And but as we're drawing near to the end of the show, I do just want to, we still got the golf tournament. We got spots open. We're looking for teams.
Who
we're
are
looking
some of
for
our
sponsors.
top sponsors that we can?
Well, we have a lot of local businesses that are involved in that, and it's usually people that have loved ones that are dealing with this. A lot of our bank connections, a lot of folks that support Runk Pratt help with that. Again, a lot of family members come back with that kind of stuff, and it's a tournament. It's usually very easy to get people to play in because it really does hold a sentimental value
So
for most people.
who are some of our sponsors? So it's Freedom First.
Well, all of our banks, Truist, Freedom First, Select Bank, First Bank and Trust, a lot of our food vendors, a lot of the healthcare agencies, home health and rehab, everybody that's involved in this space.
Dr. Gazan, who's our physician, always gives every year. What's the name of his company?
ProMedica.
Shout out to Dr. Gazan.
And if you want to get involved, check us out at runkandpratt.com. You can go to Ivy Hill Golf Course and sign up there.
We still need hole sponsors, and we do a really nice job of putting a banner up at all the different spots. We give out lots of food that day. The food's always great. The prizes are wonderful because your brother won't have it any other way than to spend a lot of money on the prizes because we want people to come back every year. It is something that the community is really looking forward to.
Yeah, for us, it's a big event. Again, we're a golf family. We're a golf business, so golf is important. It's one of the few times that the things that we do, there's a nice marriage between the healthcare side and the golf side in our families.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to get involved, you can also email info@runkandpratt.com or call us here at the corporate office at 434-237-2268. Well, guys, it's been a great show. Enjoyed talking all things Alzheimer's. Get involved, make a difference. Mom, I know you got a special quote for us, so the floor is yours.
Well, it's pretty simple this week. Whether it's through golf swing, a walk, a paintbrush, or a podcast, what matters is that we all just show up. And I just got through talking about that in so many different ways. If you're suffering from depression or not feeling included, these are ways that you can help yourself. And if you're a caregiver, make sure that you take really good care of yourself emotionally, mentally, socially, spiritually. Feed your soul so that you can help take care of all these people that are going to need us. And if you need us, visit us at www.runkandpratt.com. Until next week, I'm so excited that we've been able to cover all of this. I hope it's been helpful. You can always reach out to us for help. You don't have to do it alone. I'm Vicki, and we're all right here around the table.